I realized I've been hating myself. And even pronouncing this makes me feel very ashamed, as if I'm pronouncing a secret that nobody else knows. But chances are that you, yes, you, are hating yourself too. You feel terrified talking about it? Let's do exactly that. I actually put up a questionnaire on self-hatred on my YouTube. I was like, do you ever hate yourself? The first two people that actually responded to this were like, huh? I never hated myself. And that made me feel even more alone. But then people actually selected, yes, I do sometimes hate myself, but I want to stop. And I want to stop, and I'm still in the process of stopping. And that blew my mind, and it made me extremely sad. And in a maybe fucked up way, it made me happy that I'm not alone. You know, reassured that I'm not alone. Of course, I'm not happy that other people are hating themselves, but I'm reassured that I'm not like the exception, I guess, and that, listen, just because you've grown up around mentally ill people, just because that was the love you were given, does it mean that you only deserve to be given love by a mentally ill person? If you grow up as a child and you do not get enough love, which arguably most of us do, then you don't think of your caretakers as evil. You don't think, oh, my primary school teacher, oh, my caretaker, they must be a horrible person, or they must be a person who is struggling mentally. You don't think that. You project it back onto yourself, the small child. Okay, I must be horrible, so I must deserve this, right? And then what happens is, in your life, instead of actually having the opportunity to live, you sit there, pondering over, because that is the only love you know, pain. Fucking pain. And some of us, you know, they take it even further. They do actions that actively harm themselves because that punishment, that feels like love to them. You know, staying in a very unstable relationship, being up and down, up and down, up and down, because you confuse that up and down for love. You've never really known true love. You've never really known unconditional love. And that is fucked up. You know, what I try to imagine myself when I think about me stopping to hate myself, not even starting to love myself, but stopping to hate myself, is my friends. You know, I want my friends to have somebody, me, to be a good friend, to be somebody who is really kind to them. And honestly, what I want to see, this is, I don't know, this really puts me under distress. So would I want to be friends with a person who actively hates themselves? I kind of would want to support them, but also would I feel safe around them? So the thing is that I tell myself, okay, my friends deserve somebody to love them. And the only person who can really do that to the best possible ability is somebody who does not hate themselves. So that's what I think as a motivation to stop hating myself. And I don't know if that's sad, because technically I should be doing it for me, loving myself. But sometimes loving myself can be very complicated. And if a lot of stuff that you've been used to was connected to pain. You know, yesterday I invited this girl who lives with me into my apartment. We have this building with multiple student apartments, and she came over and I told her about the person I'd been getting close to, and she listened and she was really there for me. And then she, out of the blue, said something like, "You are absolutely lovable. You're a kind, loving person. I can tell that." And in the moment, I was speechless. I wanted to hide. I didn't know how to react. But also that that really made me feel seen, you know? That one person, a random person, not even the person you've been dating, not even I don't know who, but just a kind person, will be able to tell you that. And just because the people in your past were not kind to you at a point where you couldn't control it, because if you grow up into a foster family, into, I don't know, a family, into whoever takes care of you, your grandparents, if they are not caring and kind for whatever reason. Yes, the reason is probably that they have been hurt before, but at that point you cannot control who you spend your time around. Yes, I get that, and that is shitty and kind of fucks up your mind, but in a way that can be unfucked up. Unfucked up? What the hell? No, that can basically be made healthy again, and that can help you develop. And so I realized this girl, she was living in my house all along, and she just told me this random thing. And so I'm going to tell you this random thing as well. Not to make you love yourself or stop hating yourself, but just because I'm a kind human, I am a human, and I'm telling you this. You are absolutely deserving of love. You are the most kind, special, unique person ever. And you deserve to shine that light, and I see you. And anybody who makes you feel less than, forget about them. I realized that in some of my relationships, I am in them not because I like them, but because it feels familiar. It feels sad. It feels unstable. It makes me feel bad and then good and then bad and then good if I'm spending time with a person who doesn't really know if they want to be in my life. And it's kind of a way for me in a kind of not messed up way, but in a kind of unproductive way, let's call it, to exert control over the situation. You see, so if I'm satisfying myself with getting hurt, then okay, I'm going into it with that mindset. And then if that person is mildly loving, I saw this thing about where, okay, if you love yourself 10%, then you're going to be surprised and wow, obsessed with somebody who gives you 15%. And I've been there. I've definitely been there. And that is not shameful. It should not be shameful to admit it, because a lot of people do it to some extent. Self-hating process, it's a part of exerting control subconsciously, I think. And it's fucked up because it only confirms that mindset. Because these people that your wounded child that wounded part of you is seeking out, they're not going to make it better. It's not going to get better. It's never going to get better. I was at this comedy show, and maybe this is a very mean thing or very weird thing to say, especially because I'm German, but this comedian was like, they are never going to change. They are never going to change. It's like thinking, oh, maybe one day Hitler will actually love the Jews. Maybe one day. I'm sure one day. If I just stay long enough with him, if I just be patient enough with him, he will love me. He never will. Move on. Move on! Move on! Okay, maybe I should not be doing this. It's difficult to come out of it, because for that you need to acknowledge that you have been hating yourself and that you do deserve more self-love. And that is painful, because who wants to be a person who is hating themselves? That feels shameful to me. It feels like I'm failing myself. Even though you are not failing yourself, you're just a hurt person who's responding in a hurt manner, but in a manner that will continue to hurt you. I am stopping. Right now, I'm pulling the switch onto the other side, and it is okay if sometimes things go less well. It is okay if sometimes one day I fall back into old patterns, but the main thing is that I continue on the right path, on the path of letting go of, self-destruction, choosing something. And obviously this has a lot to do with me experiencing depression. And yes, that is an illness that is hard to get out of, but you can. I made it once. I'm trying to make it out of my second depression. And yeah, I love you so much, okay? You are absolutely lovable, a kind, beautiful person. And you deserve the world. I'm gonna give you a round of applause because a lot of times in the society, dead people get, a ceremony for their death, aka funeral. But also, I'm gonna give you an applause for living. Okay, maybe I'm overdoing it. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, is this cliched?